Okay. Hello. Welcome. Don't forget your chapstick. Hello. Happy Sunday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. If you celebrate it, I'm not wearing green, but you can't pinch me. So I'm also not wearing orange either. So either way, I'm out of the running, I guess. Um, but yeah. So happy St. Patrick's Day. Um, happy Sunday. Happy middle-ish of the month. There are 2 weeks essentially left in quarter one, which is kind of um, scary at how fast the time is moving. You can also see I have not changed my calendar there, so I'm just going to cover that with my head and pretend that hasn't happened. So orange. So green is traditionally for Catholics celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and then in order to go sort of like in opposition of that, I guess. I don't know when or why orange became, probably because of the Irish flag, my guess. Anyway, so orange represents the Protestants, so the non-Catholics. So yeah. But anyway, so that's just one of those things. I think it's because of the Irish flag colors, but I don't know why orange or Protestants. Protestants wear orange to honor William of Orange, the Protestant king who overthrew the Roman Catholic King James II in the Glorious Revolution of 1688. That's what Google says. Also, the Irish flag, vertical blocks of green, white, and orange. Yes. So, multiple reasons. There you go. So, again, happy St. Patrick's Day. I did look over the past couple of days when I've been walking because the clovers have been leafing out quite a bit. I did look. I did not find a 4-leaf clover this time. I'm pretty good at finding them. I had one day at our old house where I found 11, and then another time where I found 13 in a day. So I don't pick them all, but just sort of like finding them all. At this house, I think the max I've found in one day is 3 or 4. So they're not as prevalent at this house. But yeah, so I have found them here though. So I have one that's actually dried and laying on that shelf, but it's a little fragile now that it's dry. So, but yeah, so all the fun stuff. I'm not sure. I may, just because I may make some shortbread cookies or something. I don't know. We don't really go all out for St. Patrick's Day. It's not a thing that we've really ever done in our family. So it's not been like a, go get green beer and, any of that kind of stuff. It's just been like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. So anyway, so it's another day. And we have more words to do and more planning to get done. Since we are about 2 weeks out from April, I'm starting to think of the project that I want to do for April camp and whether or not I want to do a second draft of one of the stories or if I want to do something new. So that's kind of like I've got to figure that out in the next few weeks, or rather the next couple of days. That way I can start outlining a new project if that is what is happening, or I can start cataloging the changes that I want to make for the next draft. But yeah, let me know if you're doing camp, and if so, are you doing something new or are you revising/editing? Diane says you're sitting in the back drinking coffee and working on your laptop incognito. All righty. Diane says, hey everyone, good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Hope you're enjoying your day. Today you're taking a break from writing and reading a book by Tessa Bailey, and it's called Hook, Line, and Sinker. Nice. Sounds fun. Keiko says hi. Hello, welcome. Monique says, working on my Emma adaptation, I decided that the setting of this novel is going to be a college town. Excellent. Good. Diane is reading over a draft. You need to come up with another subplot to increase the word count. Okay. So, what are your current genres? Is your A plot mystery, romance, thriller? What's your B plot? So what are your A and B plots already? Is there like a missing item or a missing person that your characters could try and trace as an additional subplot? Okay, Diane says it's romance. Okay. So do you have like a secondary, like, is it already, is there an element of mystery to it? Is there an element of there have been a lot of, and I'm not sure what era you are writing about either. Is it a contemporary, historical? What's the situation with that? Because I've read quite a few that I enjoyed that were like historical romance, and there was an element of like spy or intelligence, like somebody, like usually the guy worked for the intelligence service or he had retired from working for that, but then like something would crop up and sort of like get both of the characters involved, or the female lead would need his expertise in hunting somebody down, that kind of thing, or uncovering or finding evidence of like shenanigans going on. Diane says contemporary romance. I may just need to make it a novella and call it good. That's also an option. But for contemporary, there's always a good old stalker trope. So you could have of either the guy or the girl. If you decide to make another subplot, it's an option. Keiko says, for those who are interested in it, World Anvil has its World Building Con 2024 running right now, is yesterday as well. This year, the streams can still be watched after the con ends. Last year, that was not possible because two of the guests held presentations that were normally in their webinars / master classes. Gotcha. Other than that, Keiko is torn between your fan fiction and one of your original stories because you are now in your fae / fairy era after reading a German fae / fairy romantasy, and you are now reading The Cruel Prince, Folk of the Air by Holly Black. I mean, do whatever inspires you more. So, yeah. Monique is wearing green because your Gray's Catholic. Yes, there's a lot. A lot of Catholics. Megan says hello. Hello, welcome. Princess, hello. You look very pretty today. Thank you. Yes, I put on the jewelry because I was like, I feel the need to look a little bit fancy. St. Patrick's Day is more of a childhood memory for you because it was a theme day in your Catholic school. Yeah. Anytime you had the excuse to dress up, right? Megan's family used to go all out for St. Patrick's because your dad's dad is 100% Irish. Corned beef and cabbage with carrots every year. You kind of miss it. Aldi, if you have an Aldi or a Trader Joe's near you, Aldi had corned beef on sale this last couple weeks for a relatively decent price. And so we picked up some corned beef. I don't know if we're going to have it today, though, because we had it earlier this week. So, but yeah. Okay, Megan says, I might attend camp with my story about Grandma Judith. Yay! Excellent. 1,000 Great Books. Hello. Just joined. Heard you talking about camp. I think I missed the beginning. Is it Camp Nano? Yes. So Camp Nano is essentially the same as November in that you are trying to work on / finish a draft of a project. Camp is a little bit more relaxed in that you can set your own word count goal. So if you are only wanting to do like a novella, or if you're wanting to do 30,000 words instead of 50, you can set that goal yourself. Camp in April and July is sort of like slightly more relaxed, I guess. November, it's always 50,000 words because that's the traditional. But camp is a little bit more relaxed, and it's also encouraged. Like if you want to edit the one that you wrote in November, that's an option as well that a lot of people take. So, but yeah, romance. Megan says it's similar to Nano in November, but you get to choose your word count. Yes. That is correct. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's been too long. You've been on sabbatical, sort of. So it's not 50K as in November, and you can choose your own goals. Yes. Yeah. Although I have not checked the website since CB told us that it was now like official that camp was happening. So I haven't seen what the design for camp is going to be this year, because the design in terms of like the flair and the extra designs for the t-shirts and your social media and all that, that's the same for both camps for a year. Diamond says, I know this is off topic, and I wanted to tell you guys you have mystical manga tarot cards. Ooh, nice. Yes. It's not really off topic because we do have tarot cards here. We usually do a pull of either tarot or oracle every day, so it's fine. Diane is wearing green because you did not know about the orange. Yeah, I think the first time I learned about orange was in middle school, like late middle school. And it was because, there would be people who were running around and like trying to pinch people who weren't wearing green. But if you're wearing orange, you could protest and be like, I'm not Catholic. Don't pinch me just because I'm not wearing green. I'm wearing orange. So it was like an out to not get pinched if you happen to be wearing orange on that day. So that was the first time I learned about it. So that may have been like a growing up in the 90s type thing. I don't know. But yeah. So Keiko says, I really recommend the panel. This is for the World Anvil World Building Con. You recommend the panel on resource and trade. Amazing discussions with the guest, and you have 3 pages of notes already. Nice. Megan says, I don't cook, or I definitely pick some up. All we did was we tossed the meat into a crock pot, and we chopped it up and tossed it in a crock pot with some beef broth. So we did not do like a traditional, we did not do a traditional recipe. So okay, and the World Anvil Con is on both Twitch and YouTube. Gotcha. So plenty of places to find it. Cool Gamer says, hey, hello, welcome. And Keiko says, I have to start my term paper tomorrow. Yes, yeah, you do. You have 2 weeks. You hope the trains don't strike again, because they did this again, and the others in public transport followed, and most of the country stood still. If that's the case, do you then get to do more things like from home digitally? Would that give you more time to work on the paper if you're not having to commute every day? Wearing orange was never a thing growing up in Southern California. It was wear green or get pinched. No exceptions. Oh no. Oh no. You still need to get to the library. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, there's not much digitally. Germany is way behind. Gotcha. All right. We have the dove today. Be peace. Be the peace you wish to find. Let me find the spot in the book. When is... I'm trying to think. I think the new moon was on the 10th. So I think the full moon is somewhere around the 24th or the 25th. I was just wondering what the moon phase was, but I think it's a quarter moon at the moment. Don't know why I needed to know that at the moment, but I did. Okay, so here's the dove. It has vines wrapped around its chest like a necklace and a crown on its head. It's kind of hard to see the crown a little bit. Anyway, so be peace. With her peaceful cooing, the gentle dove invites you to embrace the energy of peace and allow compassion to warm your heart. You always have the power to generate peace within you, and the appearance of the dove is a reminder that today and every day is a good day to meditate, to quiet any turbulence within as you embody tranquility. Above, below, and all around you, much may be happening to distract you, but you are called to engage with it with the heart of a peacemaker, asking yourself, what would peace do? Can you agree to disagree? The peace you seek rises within and spreads out into the world as the Spirit sends her messenger to remind you of the beauty of a harmonious existence with all. How beautiful and powerful your compassionate heart. Monique's right. A dove is a very Catholic card to pull for the St. Patrick's Day. Yes. Yes, indeed. But it is also a reminder of like that there's a lot in the world that is happening to distract you. There's a lot on the internet to distract you. So, having the reminder of like calling for peace, calling for not necessarily stillness, because the world is never still. But peace is good. So, Monique confirms the full moon is on the 25th. Excellent. You drew a 2 of Pentacles inverted, and you feel called out because what's on your mind at the moment is finding balance. Yeah, because 2s are always balanced, and if it's inverted, something is out of whack. So you're tempted to continue reading. By all means. Whatever it is that you want or need to get done today, that is what you should be doing. Thousand Great Books says, what are your thoughts on dialogue tags? I have some thoughts. You've seen a few authors experiment with different ways, like dropping the inverted quotes using an em dash or using nothing at all except a paragraph break. So here's the thing. If you are having a conversation and there are 2 people, and they have an even like exchange, like this person, then that person, then this person, then that person. After the first exchange, Keiko says this, and then Monique says this. If they continue to talk at that same pace, you can continue that without dialogue tags for about a page. But then you have to occasionally put in a little bit of an action to remind people who's talking now. Because if it goes longer than about half to 3/4 of a page, people will occasionally, they'll be like, oh wait, who's speaking again? And they'll have to go back and they'll have to sort of like count alternatively. So you do want to remind your readers of who's speaking occasionally. That's one thing. It's very important. Also, if you have more than 2 people in the room, even if you only have 2 people speaking, like you have to let people know who is speaking, because and you also have to remind yourself for future editing, because I ran into this issue myself when I was doing my first nano that I completed, was that when I went back to edit and I had 3 people around the campfire, I was like, wait, who's talking? I don't know. I didn't write who was talking. I did not add the dialogue tags, so I didn't know who was speaking anymore. So I had to go back and figure it out. So dialogue tags are necessary. You do not have to have them necessarily every single time someone says something, as long as there is a limited number of people in the room. The only exception to that is if someone is, say, in a crowded ballroom, and you just want to sort of like have the hubbub of the gossip that's going around. And it doesn't matter who's saying it, just the fact that people are talking about your main character, for instance. If it doesn't matter who's speaking and they're all from different people, then you don't necessarily need the dialogue tags to those, because you'll just know it will just be, you may need to say like she's overhearing the gossip as she passes by couples who like hide their mouths with fans or something. But you wouldn't necessarily need to know, like, oh, Lady Whippersnapper said this, and oh, Sir James said this. Like, you would just need the dialogue. In terms of experimenting with what the end of dialogue looks like, I'm not as big a fan of this because it is a convention for a reason. And it is a clear indicator of when a dialogue ends and an action or a thought begins or a shift in who is speaking happens. And that is a pretty universally recognized symbol. The only instances in which I can think that this may be something different is if you are, if it is written in a different language, because I know that some languages have a different indicator for dialogue, or have a different indicator for question marks or things like that. So if it is being written in another language, I can understand why you might be interested in changing the dialogue markings. In terms of experimentation, I have seen some where if it is a sort of like a paranormal and or sci-fi, in which case someone is speaking via telepathy or someone is speaking via like radio comm, they might have an M dash to indicate or use italics to indicate rather than noting that it is a normal conversation and dialogue. So there is a distinction between normal dialogue and telepathy type of thing. And that M dash is there as a clear indicator of like, this is still dialogue, but it's not normal dialogue. So I'm not in favor of doing away with dialogue markings and dialogue tags in general, because they are there for a reason. If you have a system that you are consistent with in terms of like how you are distinguishing like actual spoken dialogue versus telepathy or radio comm or thoughts or whatever, that's fine. But also dialogue tags are very necessary in order to know who is speaking in a room. So those are my thoughts in a sort of semi-quick summary. It's not so much about he said, she said, but more of like not using the quotation marks. Yeah. You've seen James Joyce start like, yeah, well, James Joyce is James Joyce. William Grass, on the other hand, doesn't even do that. Yeah. And there's a reason why they're notorious for being difficult to read. So, I'm not a huge fan of James Joyce myself. Because of the lack of grammar and the lack of clarity in some of his writings. But yeah, there's a reason why they're notorious. Like, sure, it's amazing that they were able to do that, but it's also extremely difficult to read in a lot of ways. So you're right about the convention. I think it's proper to stick to it. We're not Joyce or Grass. We're mortals. Well, it's just it's there for a reason, and it's there for the ease of the reader. And if you are attempting to make the reader uncomfortable, if you are attempting to do an experiment and make a point with your experiment and lack of dialogue tags, then that's fine. But if you are intending to write a conventional story, or even an unconventional story, but you are intending to make it relatively easy to read, maybe getting rid of the dialogue tags is not the best idea. Cool Gamer says, sorry, I'm back. Welcome back. All right, y'all. I'm going to stop talking about dialogue tags and we're going to get to writing. I am going to be doing, again, a blend of Bujo and writing the first spread. So, all right, let's get to this. I think I'm going to start us off with our cute little robot friend, who is silent. So you can play whichever music you want. All right, so 1, save your document if you have already been working. If not, now is a fantastic time to pull up whatever document you think you might be working on first. Mine is now up. 2, make sure you have something to hydrate with and go ahead and take a sip. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure you're not slouching too much. And 4, make sure that if you need a break, take a break. Here we go, 25 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. How was that sprint? Did we do good? Did we have some progress? I went ahead and updated my reading journal because I finished another book yesterday. It was one of the audiobooks that I had been reading. So finished that. I'm now up to 11 books fully finished this year, which is, we're entering week 12 tomorrow. So I'm on pace for reading a book a week, essentially, which is for finishing a book a week on average, which is better than I had been doing. Because I cannot tell you the amount of like books that I have started that I just like sat down and haven't finished, or web novels that I have started that don't have an end yet. So again, I'm great at starting reading things, but the last couple of years I have been terrible at finishing. So that's what this reading journal is supposed to help me with, is like recording when I finish things so that I can encourage myself to finish books. So yeah, so I have another one finished. So I've still left myself room from January when I started Ghost Seer. I've made some more progress on it, but I still haven't finished it. But yeah. And also this last one that I just finished, like I don't have a category for it on my genre bingo. And it wasn't a romance book, so I don't have anything to fill in for the romance tropes. But I was able to fill in Florida because the author was from Florida. So my 50 state challenge finally got another state on it, because I had 2 from New York, 1 from Maryland, and then I have 1 in progress that's from Colorado. So, and then all the others have been outside the US in terms of authors and where they're from or where the book is set. Because if the book is not set, in the world, because I do read a lot of fantasy, then I have to go by the author. So, but yeah, so updated the reading journal. And then I had about 12 minutes left, I think. 12 or 15 by the time I started writing. Okay. So I got about 300 words there. That means I can actually go ahead and move that sticky, which means I will be able to move at least 2 stickies today. If not, maybe 3, depending on how well the rest of this session goes. But yeah, so we're working on the last row of my 2K stickies. So we're working on the last row there. And then this row is my outdoor stickies. So most of those, I don't think they're going to get done. I do not think they're going to get done. Yeah, that was overly ambitious of me for this quarter, for sure. So, but anyway, how we doing? I got 300 words-ish. Just noticed the typo. There we go. Fix that. How'd you do? Scroll. Monique says, this is going to sound like a weird question, but do you think a college student would be judged if they came from a public high school instead of a prep school? Are you talking about like in terms of assessment as to whether or not they get into a college? Or, well, no, because they're already there because they're a college student. Is the college a fancy schmancy school? It's hard to say. I think if the college is a private, small, religious affiliated college, then perhaps. I think if it is a public institution, not really, because usually the public colleges are so large that you have people from all walks of life. But I feel like if the college is a lot more smaller, you might run into that. So it depends on the college. But in general, I don't think so. In general, I do not think so. However, Megan says, not likely, although some sororities might care. Yeah. And some circles at certain Ivy League schools might. Yeah. But that might just be like a group of kids who are all like, fifth generation rich kids. They might not associate with anybody other than their circle type of thing. So it depends on the college, one, and it depends on what kind of group this college student is trying to hang out with. Keiko says yes, but it depends on the kind of college the student goes to. If it's a prestigious one, then I would definitely say yes, at least in your opinion, when it comes to the U.S. You're German, and when you tell people you got your certificate or high school diploma, that allows you to go to university over a secondary way and not the traditional way. The school system here is complicated. You get judged by teachers and students alike. Your grades are then more in focus to determine if you have the right to be there intellectual wise. Because going over the secondary way is seen as this student wasn't smart enough to go over the traditional way. So how? Oh, okay. So it's like different funnels. Okay, so I guess this would be associated with if a student went to a community college first to get their associates and then transferred over to a 4-year, because that has the same kind of connotation. Was like, if you couldn't get into the 4-year, you would go to a 2-year community and then come over to the 4-year after you earned your associates. And I feel like that's kind of the same level of like judginess that would happen. You think it's the same when most visit a prep school and thoroughly prepare, and then there comes the public high school student. Gotcha. Expecting them to not do good in classes and tests and stuff. Gotcha. Okay, Monique says thanks. The idea is that your version of Jane Fairfax is the valedictorian of a public high school, which puts her at odds with your main girlie who went to a private academy. Highbury is being reimagined as an elite private college like Stanford. Keiko says, then I would say definitely. Monique says, I'm currently you're currently reading Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. What number is that in the series? I don't even remember. And you finished rereading the Viscount? I don't even remember how to say this at the moment. Who Loved Me Yesterday. Gotcha. The Bridgerton series. I actually first encountered this from one of the anthologies from Lady Whistledown? The little short stories. I encountered this series through the short stories rather than through the novels. Megan says, I worked on my post about ableism after taking the dogs out. You're writing the section on compartmentalization, which is the stereotyping of people with disabilities. Gotcha. 1,000 Great Books got a few words down, about 100 or so. Excuse me. Diane says, can you tell that the willows and oaks have started to bloom yet? The oaks, I think, more so than the willows, but you think you have been looking at this project for too long. You're starting to get cross-eyed. Oh, no. Time to go look at something else then. Or maybe stare, because what is the rule? You're supposed to spend for every 20 minutes that you stare at the screen, you're supposed to stare at something at least 20 feet away for like 20 seconds. I think it's that, like the 20 rule, something like that. I don't know if that's accurate or not. If anybody knows what that rule or caveat is, let me know, because I'm not entirely sure. But Megan says to Monique, not likely, although some, okay, this was, yes, and Keiko helped you with that. Okay, excellent. Okay, so one is classism, the other is intellectualism / ableism. In terms of the categories, Keiko says, oops, I forgot to factor with money. We don't have tuition here. Unless it is private university / college, you only pay a semester fine, which covers public transport and the administrative stuff. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, but that's like your taxes as an adult then pay for college for those who come behind you. Yeah, I wish ours did that, because the prices for college are stupid outrageous. Anyway, Monique says, yep, and my poor Jane, your Felicia, is suffering from the downsides of both. She was adopted into a military family and then went to public school. She also deals with OCD and anxiety. I feel like there are definitely scholarships and FAFSA money that can go to military families. So I'm not sure that I'm not sure that being in a military family would be necessarily a detriment to the financial case of things. Yeah. Because there are all kinds of allowances for military and veteran families that are put into place so that their families are taken care of. So I'm not entirely sure how much or to what extent, like things like the FAFSA or scholarships would be available, but I know that they are there. So I'm not entirely sure that financially would be as much of an issue in this case, if that makes sense. 20. Yes. Every 20 minutes spent using a screen, try to look away at something that is 20 feet away for a total of 20 seconds. Yes. Okay. I had that right. It's like, oh, Lordy, don't get me started on education in the US, right? Yeah. It's a sad state. You still remember how in Oran High School Host Club, also a great manga and anime, by the way, main character Haruhi stood out because she was a scholarship student. Yes. But see, that was, how do I, so that is an academy, like a rich private school where scholarships, the setting of this world was that scholarships were rare, extremely rare. And again, like they're kind of like the super rich generation after generation, and so they only interact with those of their kind. It's kind of like how the businesses in like South Korea are all owned by families that have owned the highest businesses in the country for as long as the country has been industrial, and how they only really intermarry between their own families to keep their businesses and their wealth amongst themselves. So it's kind of like that. And then suddenly you have someone who is thrust into this group. Of course, they're going to be an outlier. When you see videos from teachers who talk about the level students are on the last few, it's terrible. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. You feel good with the Germany school system, even though that is so dependent on the socioeconomic background of the student in terms of the level of education one can get. Yeah. You also find that tests that are mostly made out of multiple choice questions are problematic. They are. They are. The Chabols, yeah. Although I'm not sure that's how you say it. Yeah. Yeah. Basically the new young man. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely something you need to work on. Yeah. Yeah. You know for sure that Diana has a rich father. Okay. That helps. Your only other reference is Gilmore Girls. Gotcha. Kiko says, yeah, writing with your hand is so important even to this day. Well, yeah. And that's like they are attempting in some form or fashion to try and reintegrate some of this back in. But it's a mess. It's a mess. Anyway, Diane's like, wait, what? I have a rich father? News to me. In that case, gotta hit daddy up for some money, right? All right, let's go ahead and get another sprint going. And I think we're going to go with one of the water timers this time. We are. Okay, so present, share screen, share screen. All right, so 1, save a document. 2, make sure that you take a sip of whatever it is that you are hydrating with. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine or roll your shoulders back for the posture check. And 4, make sure if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. How do we do? Oh, I just realized I may not have marked where I left off. I did not. Okay. Do some math then. Okay. Okie dokie. So I got 826 that time, if I've done the math correctly. So, not too shabby. And I have marked where I'm leaving off. And that way I don't have to do the extra math next time. So, how did we do? Let's see. Some more discussions about education systems. Yeah. Lack of teachers. Some parents expecting all of the education and raising to be done in school hours. Yeah. Yeah, the system for becoming a teacher does not actually prepare you for the reality of yeah. They sort of they talk about classroom management, they talk about what ifs, but they don't talk about the reality necessarily of what it is like to be in a classroom of kids who do not want to be there. So yeah, too many kids, not enough teachers. Changing the education system is not something they want because the education is a sort of state level, not federal level. The federal government can't just say change this. States have to do it. Yeah, and some are happy with how it is because it kind of works out for them, and those kids who come through are lucky, and those who don't are just unlucky. Yeah, it's it's politics now. It has become politics, which is why nothing gets done and nothing gets changed. 1,000 Great Books is 157 words extra. Yay. Good. Megan worked on your post about ableism after eating lunch. Actually, you mainly fiddled with the mind map that you made on the topic, but we still work on it. CB is here. Hello. Megan forgot self-promo. You're like, I'm on Substack and other things. So here's the link tree. CB says, sorry, I was a bit late, but I was making mac and cheese. Diane says, my undergrad is in art education. Notice I don't teach. Yeah. And then you have to factor special in, or you have to factor in the special ed and health needs as well. Yep. It's all a mess. It is all a mess. I came across something, and essentially where a superintendent made a mistake and approved teachers for $50,000 signing bonuses, but then has now said that there was something wrong with the applications and they didn't actually qualify for them. So they are asking the teachers to pay back the $50,000 signing bonus at a month's notice, which is like that's a whole year's salary or more than for a lot of people. People don't just have that in their banks. And so that group of teachers is fighting back against it because if they didn't if they didn't meet the requirements, then why did the superintendent sign approval of it? So they're like, that's on you, not us. We filled it out. We thought we filled it out right. Y'all never sent back saying it wasn't done right. You gave us the bonus. Like, yeah. So crazy things are happening. Yeah. Ouch, indeed. Yeah. Ooh, Megan's off to get ice cream. That sounds delicious. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and I think I'm at a good spot. I'm sort of like catching a roll, catching a wind. I don't know. Getting into it. So I kind of want to get back into the story. So that's what we're going to do. Share screen. Make big. There we go. All right. So everything is in place now. So 1, save your document. 2, make sure you take a sip of whatever it is that you're hydrating. Oh, I finished that one. Swap my glasses. Can't talk today. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine or roll your shoulders back for that posture check. And 4, make sure that if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I'm getting to a good part, y'all. Getting to a good part. Conspiracies are unfolding. I'm kind of excited about it. Okay, 1300 on the dot. Fantastic. Fan-frickin-tastic. Keiko, which book are you reading again? I'm trying to remember if you said this stream. I don't remember if you did. I know you were talking about. Oh, you're reading The Cruel Prince / Folkbear. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, that's what you were. Yes. Yes, you did mention. I just forgot. And had to scroll all the way up. That's okay. You're excited about it, and it's good though, which is awesome. You're so obsessed with this book. Why didn't I read this series earlier? Yeah, there are some series that definitely feel like that. There are a lot of series where I'm like, it feels like it's being overhyped by a lot of people, and so I'm reluctant to like put my time into it because I'm like, maybe not, maybe it won't be that good. And then I read it and I'm like, oh, I wish I hadn't put this off so long. So yeah, I've got a couple of those that I'm hoping are going to turn out that way on my TBR shelf. But again, we shall see. So Keiko says, I remember reading the Trill trilogy by Amanda Hawking, which was awesome. And then she managed to destroy the entire trilogy with the epilogue. Oh no. Can you just like rip the epilogue out or cut it out gently and just pretend it doesn't exist? Can you do that? Keiko says, I was not the only one with that opinion. Yeah. I think there were a lot of people who were also very upset with J.K. Rowling's epilogue to things. So, yeah. But I have not read Amanda Hawking's series, so I cannot weigh in on that. So, Keiko says, yeah, the last 3 pages of I've only seen this once after that with the Inna of Ilbria series where the author lets everyone die in the last 4 pages. Holy crap. That's drastic. That is I'm tired of this series and I'm never going to revisit it ever again. Like, burn the bridges from the author. Goodness gracious. Holy cow. That's pretty much like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle killing off Sherlock because he was like, I do not want to write Sherlock anymore. And then there was such a fuss about it that he had to figure out a way to bring Sherlock back from the dead. But yeah, no, when Sherlock falls off the waterfall, never to be seen again, he was intended to be very, very dead. And then the public was not having it. So Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had to figure out a way to finagle him back to life. Yeah. You were so angry. Yeah, I bet. The series wasn't even finished because there was so much still going on. Yeah, but that screams like to me that the author was like, I am done with this. I am done. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. All right, let's go ahead and do another sprint. we're going to, let's see, I think we're going to find one of the beach timers. Yep. Okay, well, he's just not wanting to do. Okay, so what sprint are we on? Are we on the 4th? Yes, I think we're on the 4th. Okay. But it's all good examples for what not to do as an author. Right? Right. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and hop back into a sprint. 1, save your document. 2, take a sip. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back, that posture check, make sure you're not slouching. And 4, make sure that if you need a break or to swap the laundry, make sure you do so. Here we go. 25 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, how was that? I did swap laundry loads. It took about 5 minutes. I didn't fold yet, but I swapped them. Did not get 1,000 that time, but it's enough to move another sticky. Yay. Conspiracy has beginnings of the conspiracy, I should say, have unfolded. And so now my characters have to deal with this new information that they have and sort of plan a counterattack so that they can then unfold some of the later parts of the conspiracy issue. So, progress. Progress. Okay. Did I mark my last word? I did. Yay. Save. Okay, Keiko is still frustrated with the terrible ending for one of the what was it? The Trill trilogy from Amanda Hawking. Frances says, I actually love a good disaster ending, but I am probably a rare breed where that's concerned. There are too many happy endings in literature. Then again, you were raised with the original Little Mermaid story. That probably left an impact. Well, the original Grimms and the original Hans Christian Andersen, yeah, they are grim. They are very much like commentaries on reality. And so... Oh, Keiko says, nope, it was the Inna of Ilbria series. Okay, sorry. The Trill trilogy was nice compared to this. Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, no, the original fairy tales can be very, very dark. And sometimes gory. Like the original Cinderella, cutting off toes and heels. Yeah, that's a little bloody-minded. Pegging out the eyeballs of the stepsisters. Yeah. So yeah, I was raised on those as well. But yeah, as Keiko says, when you have nothing against bad endings, but they have to make sense and be realistic and fitting for the journey of the characters. I would agree with this. But yeah, apparently it was really sudden. It was just like, didn't make a whole lot of sense. It screamed, yeah, I don't know how to end this, even though it needs at least one more book. I don't want to write it anymore. So just let's just let everybody die in terms of the characters. But the author still writes books set in the same world, and the main character appears here and there. So it's not like I'm sick of the main character and the fantasy world. They were just apparently sick of those characters or that storyline. So, yeah. Frustrating. Endings that feel rushed and untrue to the story are horrible. Agreed. CB's brain would not let you concentrate. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. Shame on CB's brain. Let CB concentrate, brain. Keiko says, I'm devouring the Holly Black book, and suddenly there's a heist. You're all for it. Keiko says, I got the censored version of Snow White and Hansel and Gretel. Yeah. I mean, there were definitely some holdovers of certain stories got censored sooner than others. But you could still find the originals in like Grimm's collections and things like that. But yeah, they have become much more watered down and much more palatable for the modern world, I suppose. CB says, I've read that version of Cinderella. Yeah, there are lots of really really scary versions of fairy tales. So yeah, like Little Mermaid, it's like she's sent to kill the prince, and then she chooses not to, and then like tosses herself over and becomes foam. You have the little match girl who dies. You have Hansel and Gretel, essentially like their mother or stepmother abandons them. Some versions of the story, the father comes back, some versions he doesn't. There are versions of Cinderella or Cinderella-esque stories that are very much more. There are several versions in which Cinderella's, the character of Cinderella, was originally a princess. The mother dies. The father becomes obsessed with Cinderella as she grows up to look like her mother, so she has to run away from her father. Some versions she gets away before things happen. Some versions she doesn't. Either way, she does run away. She hides in the woods, and then goes to a ball in another kingdom. So it's like there are some very not nice versions. A lot of these stories where sort of like Selkies or celestial maidens come down to earth to bathe, and they take off their celestial garments or their seal skin, and then they are forced to become the wife of whichever guy just like randomly picks up their clothes until they're able to get their belongings back, and then they can run away. And often they leave behind the children that they had with said guy, because there's a lot of really, really not fun things that happen in fairy tales. Anyway, Red Riding Hood, you got the uncensored, because you knew it was unrealistic that the wolf could eat everyone whole and not wake up being cut open, right? Yeah. Your mother read Hansel and Gretel to me. The cannibalism was not censored, but the witch was shoved into the cage, not the oven. And then the king came to punish her, and the father got his kids. Okay, so that's a different variation as well. Yeah. And there's another, the goose girl, who like can only talk to her, talks to her horse. So she's a princess. She's being sent to marry somebody. She is replaced by one of the servants who kills her beloved horse and takes her spot, and so she takes the servant's place, and only complains to the head of the horse on the wall, and then the prince/king hears her talking to the dead horse's head, and then the dead horse's head talks to the prince as well, like randomly. I don't know, anyway. So there's, and then the servant girl who replaced her to become queen, essentially, is sentenced to dance in red hot shoes, which is like literally they bolt on red hot iron onto your feet, and you try and run away from it until you die from pain. Things like that. Very, very dark. Very. Keiko. Oh yeah, Snow White just choked on the apple piece and fell unconscious. Made sense to you as a kid, right? Yeah. The Singing Bone. It's not a fairy tale most people know of. I don't know if I've read that one or not. I'll have to look it up. I'm going to write it down so I can look it up. German tales are the best. There's a children's story of a guy who gets his thumbs cut off because he wouldn't stop sucking them. Oh no. Struwelpeter? Struwel? I don't know if this is a V sound or a W sound. The boy who starved to death because he wouldn't eat his soup. Those are just educational. Yeah. growing up with the Struwelpeter book is German childhood. I'm going to have to look it up. Yeah. Yes, there is a version of Snow White where she has a sister, whose name is Rose Red. Yeah. You have a love-hate relationship with Heinrich Hoffmann. Is that who wrote Struwelpeter? I have a bunch of stories that were collected and translated by Andrew Lang, but I don't know if any of those are from Heinrich or whatever. Yeah, Goose Girl. Yes, Goose Girl Falada. Yeah. Yeah. One of your favorite fairy tales was the 12 Dancing Princesses. Yes, this was also a very good one, but like if you think about it, it's kind of weird. Kind of weird. But yeah, also one of my favorites as a child because I liked imagining that just like behind some secret door there would be an entire world of just like fun at the middle of the night. Anyway, Singing Bone is a really short fairy tale, but very dark. Okay, there's a Wikipedia article in English about the Singing Bone. Okay, I will look it up because that sounds fun. All right, let's go ahead and do one more. It's already 5. Okay, let's do like a 10-minute sprint because I feel like I need 10 minutes to finish this. Finish the scene that I'm working on. So we will do 10-minute Nano Unicorn. Because we can. All right. Okay, let's do this. 1, save your document. 2, make sure that you take a sip of whatever it is that you're hydrating with. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine or roll your shoulders back for that posture check. And 4, make sure that if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 10 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, fantastic. I managed to just finish, I think, that scene. So I added, what did I add? I added about 232. Okay. Very nice. Fantastic. How did you do? Um, there's also the fact that some fairy tales apparently have real origins somehow. Yes, they do. um, That's the theory that there's a theory that the Ratcatcher of Hamelin is based on real events / occurrences. There is still a bit of debate, but the city archives have a note from the 1300s that basically said it's been 100 years since our children disappeared and marks about 120 children having disappeared. Some suggest that maybe it was the Children's Crusade, but that doesn't add up with the year. And one British author, don't remember his name, suggested decades ago that it might be a crime series of a bad guy because the note doesn't say how the kids disappeared, just that they did. If they had died, it would have been written down because the Germans are that meticulous. Yeah, there are plenty of theories specifically about the Pied Piper of Hamelin for sure. Yeah. Diane says, I think I've hit a point in my book where I need fresh eyes and or someone's input, so you're going to be setting aside for now. Gotcha. Fair enough. All right, y'all. It is after 5 o'clock, and I have finished my scene, so I'm going to save my tracker, which has my new words in terms of my new word count. I'm also going to save my document and all the lovely progress that I made today. So yeah, so it is now saved, and I'm going to go figure out what's for dinner. So thank you for the streams and the sprints and the company, and I will see y'all tomorrow, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Again, hopefully by the end of this week, we will have the bathroom finished. But we shall see. All right, y'all. Thank you very much. I will see y'all soon. Bye.